Very good evening, everyone. My name is Surbhi Sarkar, and I'm really happy to be with you today. This time that I'm going to spend with you today, I hope is going to help some of you pick up one or two tricks which will help you crack your next interview, whether it's for your internship, your first job, or a jump in your career. So let's begin, I guess. Let me tell you a little about myself and why perhaps I qualify to be your speaker for the day, primarily talking about the kind of experiences I have had related to interviews and interviewing. Yes, sorry about that. Okay, so today's session, I was requested to bring about the most important aspects of communicating for success when you are in an interview. Okay, we all go for interviews. These days, interviews begin as early as your kindergarten levels. There they are, very soft and very, very, what you can say, they are softened. But as you grow, in school also, schools are trying to create environments where there are interview opportunities for leadership roles within the school council. So a lot of things are happening in the education system where this conversation of an interview is being introduced to you in small ways. However, we all flow with the school, we flow with our college, and then or any other vocational program, and then suddenly when we have to start writing our resumes and we have to start sitting for interviews, two feelings come to us. The first feeling is, why is my resume not looking rich enough? That's a feeling that most of us get when we are young, when there has been a flow of just school and college, a few projects here and there. The second big challenge is, how do I prepare for an interview and how do I conduct myself in the interview so that at least the ultimate goal of that interview, which is getting a call for the next round or getting selected, is met. Over years, what I have done is I've been in leadership roles in my school and in my college. I did economics honors from Kirodimal College in New Delhi, and we were actively part of multiple forums where we were interviewing. Then I went on to do my MBA. Even for getting admission in an MBA college or an MBA institute, there were multiple rounds of interviews across, various institutes. After which, I was lucky to be selected after my MBA to join an education venture. For 12 years, I worked with a company that ran a MBA school, a B school, that ran an undergraduate school, that had programs for young women leaders, startup platforms, as well as coaching programs for school students. For each of these programs, we would conduct interviews. We would have forms in front of us and we would meet young people, young women, young students, sometimes school students who had goals to go abroad or get interesting projects after school. So I conducted, I think the number may be increased by now, but I've conducted more than 5,000 such admission related interviews. After which, I started working as a life coach, conducted a lot of workshops for schools where we went to schools and spoke to students of grade 9 to grade 12, trying to develop some life skills, primarily skills that school was not teaching. Understanding finance, understanding your emotions, understanding money, understanding businesses, and many, many more. I took a break in between, designed school games, children's games, and I think therefore no workshop that I do is without a small activity. I then for 10 years worked as head of learning and development at Fabindia, which is one of India's leading names in artisanal products. It's a retail company. Then I was not interviewing actively because I was on the learning side, but I trained hundreds of managers and all my HR team members on how to conduct good interviews. So I can give you great tips on what they are looking at when they are meeting you. What are the questions that they typically have? What are the tick marks and the crosses that they make when they are looking at somebody and they are interviewing? I am currently a consultant. I run a company called Tuvis Talent. I also run a series of workshops which is called Samvaad. Samvaad is all about conversations that a human has. Our life, according to me, is a series of conversations, right? Conversations that I have with myself, conversations that I have with the world, and conversations that I have with God are all types of conversations that a human has. And if you know how to have the right kind of conversations, you move forward at a faster pace in the better direction. I have had opportunities to speak a lot in forums, but I love art. I live in Bombay. I have 2 little girls, and now they are at an age where they are actively interviewing in school and applying for leadership positions. But what I love most is forums like this, where I get to interact with young people, bring in the power of play, the power of dialogue, and the power of experimenting with ourselves, learning actively. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here today. I'm going to request a small activity now. I'm going to request Shrung to be my interviewer. For the next 4 to 5 minutes, he will interview me. Okay, so we will assume that perhaps he represents a retail company, a large retail company, and this company is opening many outlets in Bombay, and I am just a young graduate who wants to get a job as a retail sales associate. Okay, Shrung, the interview typically takes 20-25 minutes, but we are just going to do a small glimpse of 3-4 minutes. Okay, what you all have to do, all 150 of you who are on the call, what you have to do is you click on your chat box and start typing the mistakes that you see me making. Not the interview will not be perfect. There'll be some mistakes that the person is making. I am that person. Yes, so जैसा कि हमने बोला इंटरव्यू हिंदी में नहीं रखेंगे क्योंकि बहुत सारे साथी हैं हमारे जो साउथ से और देशों से ज्वाइन करते हैं, लेकिन इंटरव्यू के जो इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स निकल कर आएंगे, आपके जो फीडबैक निकल कर आएगी, उसका जो मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन दूंगी वो मैं हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में दूंगी. द सेशन लर्निंग्स वी विल बी शेयरिंग इन बोथ इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी, but we will keep the interview in easy day-to-day English. So, and of course, like I said, we will not do a full interview. We will just do 2-3 questions. I am Surbhi. I want to get a job in the retail sector. Shrung is the manager. He's interviewing me. Okay.
Welcome, Surbhi. Thank you for applying for the role of retail sales associate at Drone Electronics. How are you feeling today?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, Surbhi, tell me something about yourself.
Sir, I am a graduate from BPTP AT College, Panipat. Before that, I went to KBBB school, and there I got 70%, sir. And in college, I've got 65%. So I was earlier applying for for office job, but then one of my friends told me that there is good opportunity in your retail, so I've applied here, sir. I would like to get this job, sir.
Okay, that's good. So what skills do you bring on the table, and how will you benefit our customers at Drone Electronics?
Sir, I'm a hard worker, sir. I work very hard, sir, and I'm gonna give my best, sir. So I don't know too much about your company, but I will surely learn, sir.
So why should we hire you, Surbhi?
Sir, like in the past, I have done projects. So in those projects, I've put in my best foot forward. I have got very good rating from my manager. I want to learn about retail, and I want to do well, sir. So please give me an opportunity. I also, sir, would like to see if you can select me for a position near my house, sir. I live in Bombay in Ghatkopar area, so if you can look at me for your Kurla store or your Ghatkopar store, sir, I will really appreciate, because that's close to my house.
Okay, Surbhi, thank you for your time. Our HR will get in touch with you regarding your interview feedback.
Sir, can I have your number, sir? I'll call you tomorrow then to check on the result.
Our HR will be in touch with you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Vishal ji is asking, कोई बताएगा यहाँ क्या चल रहा है? Okay. So Vishal, एक छोटा सा mock interview चल रहा था, जिसमें श्रुंग इंटरव्यूअर थे और मैं इंटरव्यूई थी, और क्लियरली इंटरव्यू बहुत अच्छा तो नहीं गया. सो वी आर ट्राइंग टू नाउ सी कि क्या क्या गलतियां हुई या क्या क्या एरियाज ऐसे थे जहां पे बेटर काम कर सकते थे. एंड आई सी अ लॉट ऑफ यू हैव पुट इन अ लॉट ऑफ पॉइंट्स. that tells me that my audience are already at a highly evolved level. So I'll be able to look at some of these. Let's look at the chat, okay, and pick up some of the comments. First of all, fantastic to see so many of you comment. I'm looking at the chat right now. Okay. Wish your sir first. Give greetings. Talk about your internship. So show some certificate. Okay. Everyone will work hard. Show your results. You need to be more fluent in English. Don't ask for his number. Say thank you towards the end. Fantastic inputs. Vikrant Jaya Sarathi. Fantastic. James Lloyd D. Jose has written too many ers, not very flowing in the language, not connected. Demanding the number was not a good idea. Demanding a location even before knowing that whether you are even cracking the interview or not. Okay, I'm gonna are wrong words. All these filler sounds don't use. Don't say that you don't know about the company. Okay, somebody has given Chris Bullets, Join Lycra Pebrez. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but they've written short, vague responses, too many fillers, not organized ideas. She says she's hardworking, but she doesn't prove it with specific previous projects. Obviously, she has not done her research about the job description. Salima has a very good observation. She says, ma'am, you're looking nervous. You're not making eye contact. Same thing, Sukomal Bhattacharji has said that, when he said, why do you want to join? I've not really given a very strong reason for joining. In fact, I'm just sort of begging that pick me up for this place, put me in this place, which is very self-oriented. Anshit says, I work very hard, not know about the company, put me near my house. It shows comfort zone. It's not a good idea to show that kind of comfort. Directly asking for number and feedback. Nitin is saying कि आप हिंदी में लीजिए interview. Ayush says that introduction was informal, fear of what to say to the interviewer. And of course, Salima says, looks like you have not done any preparation. I'm not going to be able to read all the comments, but I'm looking at a couple of them which are looking fairly detailed. मैम आप स्टार्टिंग में थोड़ी नर्वस लग रही थी, जो कि नहीं होना चाहिए. आपको थोड़ा प्रॉपरली बैठना चाहिए जैसे सर बैठे हैं. आपके एरिया की बाउंडेशन लगाकर आप अपने चांसेस कम कर लेंगे. आपने लास्ट में बोला कि आपको नंबर चाहिए बिकॉज उन्होंने कुछ बताना होगा तो खुद बता देंगे. आफ्ताब has given a very good idea. Express yourself freely. Everyone will say that they're a hard worker, but you should say something different so that you stand out. Don't prepare about the company. Don't say that you don't know anything about the company. In fact, you may say, I'm interested to know more about this role. Don't express your demands so early in the process. Don't ask personal questions. Don't get stuck and say, like, etc. So I think we've got so many valuable inputs. Guys, you're absolutely fine. Right. Many of you. It was a very informal sort of an interview. It was not conducted properly. But trust me, I have done thousands of interviews, and sometimes even people who are very well prepared, who have some thoughts, when it comes to this point, they tend to get nervous. A lot of us are also giving interviews on screens these days. फर्स्ट राउंड, सेकेंड राउंड, आप फोन से इंटरव्यू करते हैं. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि आपका इंटरव्यू एक पीसी पे हो रहा है, कंप्यूटर पे हो रहा है, तो आपकी पूरी पर्सनालिटी इस एक स्क्वायर बॉक्स में जज हो रही है, राइट? सबसे पहले जब आप इंटरव्यू में आपने विश कैसे किया, राइट? उसके बाद क्या आपका फर्स्ट 10 सेकेंड्स का प्रेजेंस जो है वो पॉजिटिव है कि नहीं. अल्टीमेटली अगर आप एक क्लाइंट फेसिंग रोल में जा रहे हैं जहां पर आप एक कंपनी के ब्रांड एम्बेसडर बन के उस कंपनी को प्रेजेंट करते हैं. जब मैं एक स्टोर में घुसती हूं तो एक रिटेल एजेंट जो है इज अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ दैट कंपनी, द पर्सनैलिटी, द ब्रांड ऑफ दैट कंपनी. सो your personality, your welcoming smile, your pleasant attitude becomes very important. And a lot of people say that in the first 10 to 15 seconds there is a sense of likability that gets developed in the interview. Most interviewers know whether this person, they don't make a decision on whether they will select you or reject you. I wouldn't say that. But at least they start to make some impression on whether you will fit the persona of the role or not. जो जिस तरह की पर्सनालिटी हमें चाहिए एक रोल के लिए, आप उसको मीट कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, इसका जो निर्णय है वो पहले 10-15 सेकंड में होना शुरू हो जाता है. In the first 10 to 15 seconds, an interview starts to make a strong impression whether your personality, the presence that you bring to the table is suitable for the role or not. So if you're not smiling, if you're not making eye contact, if your body is too stiff and you're looking a little nervous, then their chance of putting you in a front-end role becomes difficult, right? The second thing that a lot of you said, prepare kariye. Be prepared for an interview. Even if the job does not give you anything, any information, even if you get 5 bullets of JD, इतना हमें पता होता है कि हम कौन सी कंपनी किस रोल में काम करने जा रहे हैं. और आजकल तो इंटरनेट का जमाना है. So in the time where everything is available on the net, there is a lot of information available. Please do not go unprepared. Prepare about the company, prepare about the role, and practice 2 things. Number 1, introducing yourself. It is so strange, right? That we live for 21 years, but after 21 seconds, we don't know how to introduce ourselves. So that is a challenge that not only you, people at all stages in their career and life face. Their introductions are very dry. Sometimes it's just a list of courses they have done. Sometimes it's a list of jobs they have done. So this is one thing that all of us can practice. Even when the top CEOs, the prime ministers and the presidents give their speeches, sometimes they will record it and listen to their own selves, right? आज से 2-3 साल पहले तक मेरी सारी trainings classroom में होती थी. All my trainings were in classroom till 2-3 years back. Then over the last 3-4 years, a lot of work started happening online. And that was the first time I started seeing my own recordings. And you have no idea, I did not need any teacher then. Looking at my recording, hundreds of things started becoming clear to me. Lot of times I was doing a lot of work with my hair. I was moving too away from the screen, picking up my bag. Sometimes I was so close to the screen that, pores on my skin were visible. So I started learning how to calmly sit in front of a screen, how to create an environment of a certain space, a little bit of a gap, yet engagement. I also started to see that I was smiling very unevenly. Never thought of that before, but I realized that I was smiling only on one side. It was looking very weird. Or sometimes I was sitting in one corner of the screen and somebody was passing behind. And a lot of learnings happened. When I heard my own recordings, I started to realize that there were words I was saying a lot more than they should be said. We all have some fillers. So I started realizing what my fillers were. The other thing that started happening was I started to realize whether my volume was appropriate, whether my speed was appropriate, whether the words that were coming out of my mouth were clear, was the tone correct, right? In a lot of times, let's say Rupam asked me a question and she said, you know what, we are going to hire 25 people for this role in the next 3 months. And I answer back saying, really? Okay. Or I may say, really? That's very interesting, sir. That's very exciting. That means that my chances, ma'am, may go up, right? Or say, really? You're only hiring 25 people. There are 200 people here. So even the way a word is said, whether it is said in an exclamatory fashion, or it is said in an excited fashion, or it is said in a confused exclamatory state, can create an impression for so your words also have to be clear. Let us now start looking at some of the broad tips. Good thing is that almost everything that we will be talking about today, you have given me some idea around that. But let me now go back to the presentation and take you through 10 or 12 broad tips on how to prepare for your interviews, and for each stage of preparation, how to focus on the right communication style for that as well. Amongst all the topics that we discussed, all the 10-15 things we read, one thing came across very clear, that preparation is very important. Okay, so there is the first stage, which is the before the interview stage. Okay, what all must we do for the interview? The first thing that you have to do is to understand which job you are applying for. Okay, let's say you're applying for a retail sales associate, or let's say you're applying for an analyst. Maybe you're applying for a in-house technician role. It could be any role, but you must understand what is the job role. ओके किसी भी जॉब के लिए इंटरव्यू में जाने से पहले वो जॉब आपसे क्या एक्सपेक्ट करती है, उसमें आपका क्या काम अच्छे से पता होना चाहिए. अगर बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल्स अवेलेबल नहीं भी हैं तो टाइटल के जॉब क्या है, उसके नाम पे और किस कंपनी में आप अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, इन दो चीजों के कॉम्बिनेशन से भी बहुत सारी प्रिपरेशन की जा सकती है. चाहे हम एक लीडरशिप पोजीशन के लिए, मैनेजर के लिए, एसोसिएट के लिए, किसी भी लेवल के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हो, कुछ क्वेश्चंस ऐसे होते हैं जो हर जगह कॉमन होते हैं. सो देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ प्रिपरेशंस दैट यू कैन डू. नंबर 1 is a combination of the company you are applying to and the role you are applying for. This itself will give you hundreds of bullets of what you can prepare. The second, which I was saying, is that whatever be the level, there are some common questions that are associated with any interview. Even today, after 20 years of my job, when I go for an interview, everybody would want to know what I have done in the past. They would want to know how my past experiences bring benefit to the current role. They would want to know about me. They would want to know about my family. They would want to know about my future plans. They would want to know whether I am mobile or I want to be in a same city. What is the kind of movement that they would want to know about my aspirations, my dreams. They would want to know about my salary in the past and my salary in the future, what I am expecting, what kind of growth I am expecting. If I am a student, they may want to know about my subjects, what subjects I have studied, something about my institute. If I have done internships, they would want to know about my internships. How was it successful? How was it measured? So there are 15 to 20 questions that you can prepare. One thing that I would like to tell you, the quality of these common questions generally determines the track of any interview. ये 2 या 3 सवालों से ही अगले सारे सवाल निकल कर आते हैं. That typically an interviewer only wants to have 3 or 4 areas very clear. Apart from that, the beginning of the interview, right? So imagine that there is a core. Okay, there is a core of questions that they want to ask. Those 4 or 5 questions you may or may not have, but around that core, there are rings and rings of common questions that every interview has. So let's crack those common questions beautifully. Okay. So when you are preparing for a company, learn about the company. Imagine that you have applied to a Shopper Stop, for example, like in my interview and Shrim's interview. I would want to say that this is a beautiful brand. I went to your website. I saw that you have these many stores. I saw that people in your company have grown from lower level up to area manager level. I saw on LinkedIn that 10,000 plus people work in your company. I also saw that you are offering these kind of positions, this kind of thing. That excited me a lot. I learned a little about retail. I have never worked there, but I have these qualities which make me good, right? So my next question is, on the screen I have written, understand the job role KSA. What is KSA? The 3 letters K, S and A. What do they mean? To understand a role, while preparing for that role, you must understand the K of that role, the S of that role, and the A required for that role. Okay, I've given you enough hints. K is required, S is required, and A is required. What are K, S, and A? I love it. Ariful has actually typed in Bangla. People are typing in Kasanayan. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. So there is Gyan, right? There is Kaushal ya Hunar ya Kshamata. Okay. And then there is attitude. Okay. तो ज्ञान का मतलब है कि आपको किसी चीज की कितनी समझ है, कितनी जानकारी है. फैंटास्टिक आंसर हिमांशु. ज्ञान का मतलब होता है कि आपको किसी एक विषय की, किसी एक टॉपिक की कितनी समझ है, कितनी जानकारी है. सो व्हेन वी से नॉलेज, we are basically assessing how much you know about something, your level of understanding of that topic. Having said that, there are fantastic people who know, let's say, everything about plants, but they can't grow even one plant. Every second day a plant dies in their house. They are plant killers, right? They don't have what we say the green thumb. So Just because you have done your master's in botany does not mean that you will be able to grow every species of plant, because plants need care. They need a certain amount of light, a certain level of sunlight, care of where they should be grown, how they should be fed, etc. So just knowledge about something will not make you successful. Ability to do it in the right time, in the right way is what is skill. आपकी क्षमता उस ज्ञान को काम में लगाने की. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपने एक ITI में जाकर वेल्डिंग का कोर्स, कुछ घंटे की प्रैक्टिस नहीं मिलेगी, आप ठीक से काम नहीं कर पाएंगे. सिर्फ पढ़ लेने से या वीडियो देख लेने से आपकी जानकारी बढ़ जाएगा, आपको सारे बातें करने आ जाएंगी उसके बारे में, लेकिन आप वो कर नहीं पाएंगे. इसीलिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि जब तक आप अपनी जॉब ढूंढ रहे हैं या जब तक आप साथ साथ जितना प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस कलेक्ट कर सकें उतना अच्छा है. जैसे अर्जुन ने 2-3 बार लिखा, मैम आई एम एन ITI इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैकेनिक, राइट? सो फर्स्ट ईयर दे लर्न एवरीथिंग, राइट, about soldering, about welding, about all the kind of equipments, how circuits work and whatnot. I'm sorry, I'm not very well versed with electronics, but there are a lot of topics that you're going to learn, right? The do's, the don'ts. However, that will only bring you K. It will not bring you S. S is kshamata, hunar, kaushal, which is developed by continuously doing something. It is the ability to do it right, to do it in the right time, right? And therefore, all of you who are Bachelor of Arts, first year students, second year students, wherever you are, it's important that slowly you also start getting opportunities of applying your knowledge to develop skill. Internships are very important because they convert some of your knowledge into skill areas. Keep doing that. If you are already actively applying, if you're already interviewing and you have a lot of knowledge, start looking at opportunities of where you have in the past used it, so that you can give some proof of skill. A lot of people said, no, hard work, that is not the answer for why Shung should hire you. So if you want to get hired for a role, what you will have to do is to think of 5 areas of knowledge that somebody should have to crack that role. If you think, what are the 5 skills this person should have? Good quality JDs these days also have this information. But if you don't get that JD or a job description as we call it, then please try to find out on the internet, Google, that if I am applying for role X in company Y, then what are the K, S and A required by those kind of companies for this kind of role? So let's say the role is that of a telecommunication officer. You are going to work for a BPO center or a call center, and you will be in a tele-performance team, basically a team that makes telephone calls, right? Can everybody think of the 3 knowledge areas that a person must have to make impressive sales phone calls? There are many, many types of phone calls: sales, collection, information, follow-up, etc. But we're going to stick to sales. Let's say you have to sell a product by calling people, right? What are the 3 or 4 important knowledge areas that you must have? What are the 3 skill areas that you must have? And what are the 3 most important attitudes that you must have? Take a minute. There is no hurry to click enter. Okay. 3 knowledge areas, 3 skill areas. I understand that all of you have done different things. Some of you are doing computer science, some of you are at IITs doing vocational programs, some of you are doing BA, BCom, BSc programs. But imagine for a minute, because this is a role all of us can do easily. We can all apply for this. If you were to apply for a role where you have to call 100 people in a day and try to sell them something, right? Fantastic answers are starting to come. But trust me, all these answers that you're saying are either skill answers or attitude answers. Active listening, says Ayush. Bhavika says communication skills are important. Vikrant says the way of speaking, whether you are humble to customers or not. Active listening again, communication, patience, knowledge about your product. Fantastic. So we've got, Bhavika has given us one knowledge area. The product that you are selling, how much knowledge do you have about that product? Way of speaking, confidence, Negotiation. Okay, perhaps some customers will go into detail and say, but wo wala product to ye hota hai, to you may have to counter. Problem solving skills. Fantastic. Know your product. Stay calm. Knowledge about the competition. Technical skills associated with that role. Firstly, good listening. Okay. Time management. Okay. Himanshu says to language, technical confidence, and problem solving, please add time management, because most people don't have more than 10-15 seconds of patience. If you have not said something really powerful in the first 10 seconds of the call, 90% people will say, no, thank you. Okay. How can we increase our knowledge, says Hemraj. Hemraj, I will take you back. I said that when you're applying for any role, two things you always know, right? You know which company you are applying to, and you know which role you are applying for. Let's say if the role is intern, no role really, just an intern, right? Then at least you know which department you may be selected for. The worst case is that a company is coming to campus and they're saying, oh, we are going to take interns. Then the only thing you can prepare is two things. What are generally interns supposed to do? What are the skills that are expected from interns, right? Collecting knowledge, primary research, secondary research, documentation. What do interns do, right? Interns bring energy to a team because they are young, eager to do a lot of work. So they will be given responsibilities to do primary research, secondary research, go and meet people, understand information. Okay, worst case scenario, here are 300 files. Please file them properly. Documentation, right? Or sit in these 20 meetings, make minutes of these meetings, understand our company, put it on a chart or a diagram, prepare PPTs, prepare Excel sheets for us. All these are skills. The company automatically tell you which industry that company is, study about the industry. Which business that company is in, study about that business. What are their competition companies, study about them. So there is no end to the kind of preparation you can do even with two inputs. The name of the company, the department you are applying to or the role you are applying to. And the third area is knowing yourself very well. That nobody can help us prepare. We ourselves are authorities on our own selves. Take up a friend. Say, I'm going to introduce myself. You introduce you to me, yourself. We will give each other feedback on how we can make it more holistic. After all, I am a lot more than KHMS and BPTP. What is that? I don't even know. Right? I went to a school A, I went to a school B, but do they define me? I have seen phenomenal kids come out of indescript state board schools. I have also seen not very impressive people from all kinds of cities, top schools. So let your school name, your course name not be defining you. Don't memorize things. Just saying, sir, yes, I have prepared. I went to your site. You have 300 stores in 22 cities and you have 7 stores in Mumbai. It doesn't make sense. It makes them feel that you're unnatural about your preparation. Try to understand what are the most vital things for you. This is about the pre-interview stage. But when you are introducing yourself, breathe. A lot of people said, ma'am, you were very nervous. Right? There is no need to be nervous. When you enter an interview, what is the worst thing on world which will happen in this interview? You will not get selected. Nothing worse will happen, right? There is always great experience. There is always great learning. The worst thing that can happen, and I know sometimes the stakes are really high and we are very nervous, but let the nervousness not affect your result. What is the worst thing that's going to happen when you're very nervous? You will fail the interview. So go with thinking, बुरे से लगा ना interview. Also, an interview is also a conversation. ये भी तो एक बातचीत है, एक वार्तालाप है ये भी. ये कोई एक power game नहीं है. 99% interviews, they want it to be conversational, right? People would want to be spoken to. Not necessarily Q&A, कोई rapid fire round नहीं है, unless your answers are too short and it becomes like a rapid fire round, right? So, keep it conversational, introduce yourself with power, right? आप तो अपने favorite हैं, so you are your own authority, you know yourself best, right? So talk about yourself with care, talk about yourself with confidence, talk about what you bring to the table. Sometimes the fact that you have been on stage, the fact that you have been participating in things, that you have danced, that you have done babysitting for your cousins could also be a very valuable input for a role. Perhaps it shows patience. Perhaps it shows that you have many skills. The fact that you can be on stage is confidence. The fact that you understand body movement, body language, movement, space, all this is valuable for an interviewer in any organization. If you have studied safety, if you have studied environment, if you understand science, if you love sciences, even if you didn't pursue them, these are information points that are of great value. Okay, so start with a strong and powerful introduction. अगर जितनी आपकी उम्र है उतने मिनट आपको अपने बारे में बोलने का कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए. So if you are 21, at least for 21 minutes, I should be able to talk to you about your life, your family, your aspirations, your dreams, your future, your school, your college, your friends, what you love, what is your favorite food, what are your favorite movies, right? Know yourself well and present yourself in the best way. Keep it simple, keep it clear. Watch your tone. We spoke about that really, right? Tone can make a lot of difference. Keep your body language positive. If you're interviewing in a screen, make sure that you are at the right place in the screen, within the screen. You're not here where I can see through your nostrils. You're not so far that I can see everything in your background. If you are in a room, walk into the room confidently. Don't drag your chair. Pull it out neatly. When you're sitting in your chair, make sure that your back is touching the back of the chair. Mostly you will have comfortable chairs. Place your back against the chair. Having that support really gives confidence, especially in nervous situations. Also, being on the edge of the chair is not a good idea because you may feel very dicey and not so comfortable. Like I said, practice with your friend. Trust me, I have done recordings, I have done interviews with CEOs, with presidents of companies. They will also say, okay, give me 2 minutes. Show me how it is getting recorded. Then say, let's start again. I want to sit here. I want to face this way. I want to say these words again. I think here I was not sounding very clean and clear. So there is no age or stage for that. You should always prepare. There's no harm in practicing with a friend, practicing in front of a mirror. And the best is put your phone at a distance, record yourself, hear yourself. 100 learnings will come out of your own hearing. In terms of your language, don't use a lot of pause words. Don't use fillers. Don't say, I'm gonna do this. I rock at this. Because we have come to use so many of these jargons, thanks to Instagram, thanks to our lingo has become very, very filled with filler words. Don't do that. Try to speak softly, separately, and every word should be understandable. However, there will be a lot of questions which are around, let's say, situations. What will you do if this situation happens? What will you do if this kind of question is put in front of you? What if a customer starts shouting at you on the phone? What will you do then? In such times, 2 things come to your rescue. Number 1 is your past experiences. So if you've had any past experience, explain that past experience. Show your calm, your language, your on-the-spot thinking, your communication, whatever skills you used through that example or through that past example. If you don't have that kind of an example, then how will you get your brain to work around that situation? For that, many of you would be aware, it's available everywhere. This is one of the first things that is taught when you type interview preparation on Google, the STAR method. What is the STAR method? The STAR method is, okay, why am I telling you? A lot of you should know already, right? So let's get back to our chat boxes and tell me, if you have to explain what will you do in a different kind of experience, or if there is a way of telling people about your experiences, what is the STAR method? You applied that kind of knowledge or that kind of skill by using the STAR method, STAR. What was the situation? Due to that situation, what was the task at hand? What action did you take? And what were the results of that? That completes a circle in which the interviewer is able to see your behavior, your knowledge, your skills in a given situation. Were you able to understand that situation? Arrive at some tasks which were at your hand? Were you able to take the right kind of action? Were you able to achieve the desired results? And that's a beautiful way of answering any question which is around a situation. Now, this situation can also be personal, where they can say, tell us a time when you had to make a choice between two choices. Why did you choose it? So, for example, why did you not take this subject versus that subject? Or in the past, you say, sir, I had 3 internships offers. I went to this. Why did you select it? Or if 2 people are asking you to do a job and both are very senior people and you're an intern, which job will you do first and how will you handle it? You can give many kind of interesting answers. They could also be then technical answers. Like, for example, if somebody has done, somebody is studying accounting, they may ask for a situation that you were looking at a P&L sheet and you found these 3 errors. Tell us, how did you go about? So they are seeing in that situation where you have to resolve some errors, which files will you look at, which numbers will you tally, who will you check with, what are the common errors in a P&L or a balance sheet, how are they tallied? These are ways of checking. These kind of activities could be given. However, there will be times when you will not understand a question or you will not know the answer to a question. There is no harm in saying, sir or ma'am, could you please repeat your question? Or politely saying, I actually didn't get the question. Could you explain to me what you would like me to go, or how would you like me to explore this topic? There will also be times when, despite their explanation, don't know the answer. Be honest about it. Say that, I'm sorry, I don't have exposure to this area right now, but I do understand X. I do understand Y, some other related area which is very powerful or important for the job. You can take them there, right? So it's very important that we approach this as an opportunity to understand more about this role, present ourselves in the right light, speak the right kind of words. Number 1, go in thinking you are having a good quality conversation. Second is prepare about the company, prepare about yourself. Get to know as much as you can about the skills, knowledge, and attitude for that role. Find where that skill is with you. Perhaps there will be one odd case where you'll see this is not the job for me. Save yourself the pain, because understanding the KSNA tells you clearly this is not something you would enjoy. This is not something you'll be good at. This is not something that will bring you happiness on a day-to-day basis. And you may realize that this perhaps is not the right place for me. The company is looking very great, but this role may not be a fit for me. Those cases also happen. That's where your KSNA will help you. So with that, I am happy to take questions. We have spoken about 5 areas today: pre-interview preparation, introductions and first impressions, core questions about the job, which will come from the knowledge, skills, and attitude, and all your past experiences and your preparation about those KSA. Last 2 things, you are allowed to ask questions, but your questions need to be logical, and your questions need to also set a certain boundary. For example, asking people like how many people have applied, how many will be selected, when will I get, etc., is not necessarily a great idea. But yes, by when can I expect to hear? Would I be informed about the next level or my selection through email? If you have a couple of questions about the job, you want clarity, that's absolutely fine. In fact, a lot of times we ask, do you have any questions? Just to check whether the person is engaged in the process, do they understand the job, and questions about mobility. So my first advice to you would be, if you really want to enjoy your career with full-fledged growth, try to see how mobile you can be, how open to moving around the city, around the country, around the world you can be. Don't restrict yourself too much, but we all have our constraints. We all have when we are starting our careers, there are also cost constraints to where we can live. So it's okay to have some constraints. Think about how you will present yourself as a ambitious, committed person, and not diminish your value by talking too much about where you want to get your job. And some post-interview etiquette would require also that you be thankful about the opportunity. However your interview has gone, say thanks. The closing is as important as the opening. And generally there are other people involved, not necessarily the interviewer. So some questions can be reserved for those people also. Let's say somebody who is the coordinator for the process, or somebody who is in HR who's coordinating. So some of those not so vital questions can also be post-interview kept for that person, and not necessarily for the person interviewing you. So what I have done is very, very broad, very generic, I understand. But I hope that each one of you has been able to pick up some points that you will use in your coming days.